Okay folks, we are ready to put the drain assembly and the faucet onto the countertop here, the vanity basin. Now what I've done first is I put a bead of plumber's putty around where both the faucet will go and the drain pop-up will go. I like to use plumber's putty because it's, you can see it there, it stays soft, it's easy to work with, and yet it still provides a watertight seal. Even though there's a plastic bottom on this faucet, which should help to keep it from leaking any kind of water underneath around the faucet base, I still don't just trust that. Now I probably could get some other kind of sealant, maybe some silicone caulk, and do that, but that's a bit of overkill, I think. The instructions though do say to put silicone caulk on the underside of the drain pop-up, but I'd still prefer the plumber's putty because it stays soft. If you need to change things out, it's easy to remove. It's also easy to put into place. You just roll it out like Play-Doh, basically. It's not difficult to work with, and it, like I said, this container is a few years old, and you can see it's still soft and pliable, even though I haven't used it much in that time. The one drawback, as it says on here, is it can't be used for marble, granite, plastic, or any other dimensional stone. I think because of staining, or just the adherence isn't good. But since this is a porcelain top, I'm fine. That's not an issue, and I can use that to give this a seal. I just don't want water seeping down around the faucet, because then it, works to rot the cabinet wood, and certainly I don't want any water leaking out of the drain. You want everything to go right from the basin right into the pipe. So this is the preliminary step to prep it, to put it on, and then we'll take the faucet here and just put it into place, and I can move it around. The extra putty is easy to wipe off. You can just use your finger or a paper towel or soft cloth, whatever, so it won't be noticeable afterwards if you've got too much on, and that's okay. If you have a little too much, you want to get a good seal, and then you're good to go. You've got your watertight seal, and your faucet is ready to go. Your drain assembly would be ready to go. Now this particular faucet attaches to the bowl here with clips and a nut. These came with the faucet. That slides up over there. There are two bolts that stick down. Some faucets you might have a plastic tube or a plastic bolt that sticks down, and then a thumb tightened plastic nut. I've seen those, but this one comes this way, and that's fine. Again, I'm just going to tighten it down snug so that the faucet doesn't move around when it's being used. I don't want to try to over tighten because, again, I don't want to take the chance of damaging the top. It doesn't have to be real tight to just hold it in place. And then once it's where I want it, the holes in the vanity top here are big enough that I can slide it around side to side if I need to. I'll just pull that off like that, and I can position it exactly where I want it. For bathroom vanities, the faucet you need, it should be marked on the box that it's for a vanity, bathroom vanity, but they're called 4-inch centers. That's the distance between the two center lines of the outside holes there. They're narrower, of course. You don't need as much water in a bathroom vanity sink as you do, say, a kitchen sink, so the faucets are smaller and they're narrower. The centers are wider on a kitchen sink. I think they're 6 or 8 depending on what you get, and they're designed for bigger faucets, but you want the 4-inch centers. You want the faucet that'll fit in that. You can see the bolts here that I'm going to put those clamps on, and then the nuts on when I tighten it down, and then I'll just position it so that it looks straight, looks centered, and then I'm good to go. I'll wipe the excess plumber's putty off, and that's where I need it to be. After that, I will put the supply tube, the hose, the supply hose onto these threaded ends, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.